to A View from the Top, brought to you by the Rush Sports Medicine Team. I'm your host, Christopher Haralson. Every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. here on 103.3 FM, Super Talk Meridian, we take a look at the world of athletics, Meridian Community College. MCC basketball improved to 7-0 Monday night with a 65-59 win at Hines Community College. The Eagles open up MAC play at home this Thursday, tomorrow night, in the Graham Gymnasium at 6 o'clock versus an also undefeated Jones College. If you hadn't been out to see the Eagles play, I think this would be a great opportunity to come out tomorrow night and watch the Eagles. They are exciting. Like I said, they're 7-0. It's the best start in easily 15-plus years. And so to get a chance to have a undefeated matchup this early in the season, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere and a great game. So I would encourage you to come out to the Graham Gymnasium tomorrow night. If you can't make it, you can always watch our games live at mcceagles.live. But again, we'll be at home tomorrow night, 6 o'clock versus Jones College. The Lady Eagles, 3-4 on the season, open up MAC play as well, but they travel to Jones College for a 6 o'clock tip. For the second year in a row, the MAC has decided to play a mirrored basketball schedule. And so what that means is that when the men are at home playing any team from the conference, so like Jones tomorrow night, then the women will be at that same school on the road playing. And so they'll never play the same night in the same place this year. And so like I said, this Thursday, the men are at home and the women are at Jones. MCC Tennis is hosting their first ever pickleball tournament at the Wanda McPhail Tennis Center here at Meridian Community College. That's going to be December 11th at 9 a.m. It's $20 a person. They've got men's and women's open division, beginner division. Coach TJ Carter and the tennis team would love to have you come out and participate in that first ever pickleball tournament. For more information and registration, you can go to mcceagles.com/camps. You can register there. You can come out the day of and register. You can pay the day of. I think it's going to be a really good time for their first ever pickleball tournament. Men's soccer is hosting an open tryout Tuesday, December 28th at C.D. Smith Field. That'll start at 1 o'clock, and that's open to all high school players and even any current college players that maybe have got a year left of eligibility and looking to transfer or didn't play this past season and want to come out and play. That's open to anybody that wants to come out and try out for Coach Sam Wilson's 2022 squad. Again, C.D. Smith Field, 1 o'clock, Tuesday, December 28th. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, I'll be joined by MCC men's soccer coach Sam Wilson. You're listening to Super Talk Meridian, 103.3 FM. Welcome back to A View from the Top. I'm your host, Christopher Haralson, and today I'm joined by MCC men's soccer coach Sam Wilson. Coach Wilson, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Morning. Good to see you.
Thanks to our newest sponsor of the podcast, I was able to get you Next Level Nutrition Loaded Tea. That's a mango margarita, and so I went down there and I checked out Courtney's thousands of flavors, and I chose that for you. I hope you like it.
I'll tell Courtney she did a great job this morning.
I will. If you hadn't had a chance to check out Next Level Nutrition at 2320 Highway 19 North, I highly recommend you go down and see Courtney and the girls. They've got plenty of loaded teas. If loaded tea is not your thing, they've got meal replacement shakes. They've got protein shakes, pre-workout, post-workout. They've got pretty much anything you can ask for at Next Level Nutrition. And on MCC game days, if you go down there with your MCC ID, you get 10% off. And so I'm sure Courtney and the girls would love to have you at Next Level Nutrition. Coach Wilson, we had a pretty good year this year. We didn't quite get the finish we wanted, but overall, we were 8-6-1, finished one place out of the playoffs. Tell me kind of what you thought about the season, kind of recap the season for me.
Obviously started off very strong. Started off, I believe, 3-0, 4-0. Got to conference play and things got a little tougher, obviously. But overall for us, within the grand scheme of things, we were super happy to get a winning season. That was my first one here at MCC since I've been here. So in the last 5 years, we hadn't had one. Very fortunate to play some very good soccer. And like you said, came up a little short at the end. But when you're able to look back at it, we were very happy with our success.
Well, and when you in the middle of the season, we got off to that hot start. To be able to look up and I may be wrong, you can correct me if you know different. We got our first ever or first in a long time top 25 ranking. And we were able to hold on to that top 25 spot for 7 consecutive weeks.
Right.
And when you look at a soccer season that's pretty short, we play about a 10-week season. To be able to stay ranked, over 3/4 of the season was outstanding. I mean, I think we, like I said, we got off to a hot start. We played a tough Georgia team at Andrew College at their place, got an early, 1-0 win there, and was able to come back home and pick up a couple more wins. So I think it speaks a lot to the program and where we're going and what you're building to, like I say, be ranked for 7 consecutive weeks in the top 25. Especially when you think about the level of competition in our state and in the MAC.
Right.
Obviously, in our division, in the South Division, what went on to be the Region 23 champion, Pearl River Wildcats. We get fortunate enough to play them twice,
Yeah.
which certainly makes it a little more difficult to make the playoffs. But tell me about, so we've got 9 sophomores.
Right.
And then, so we got a lot of shoes to fill. But of those sophomores, 2 of them got to make all region,
Right.
or all state, I guess. Tell me about those 2 guys.
So we had Felipe Pensica, who's a fantastic midfielder for us. Great stats. Is a guy that's going to go on and play at the next level. He's going to have plenty of offers and plenty of good things to do at that level. Another was Caleb Montfort. He was a center back for us. Tremendous leadership in the back, a guy that we could always count on to be there when we needed him. And those are 2 guys that we thought really led us through the season and were great pillars for our team.
Right. And so those 2 guys joined with Ben Padgett and Jack Davies, who were sophomores, but they're third-year sophomores. They've been here 3 years. They got to play through the pandemic year. All 4 of those guys got to go and play in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
And so and when we talk about the All-Star game and the region, obviously we get to nominate who we think is the best on our team, but it speaks volumes when the coaches around the state also, that's who they pick, so they saw something there. And tell me a little bit about the All-Star game and how those guys did.
Yeah, so the South came up a little short. They split the All-Star game in the North Conference for the South Conference. The South came up a little short. However, Ben Padgett was lucky enough to come away with the South MVP for the game.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so I had a great game. Obviously, they gave up some goals, but made some great tackles, organized the back line, did all the things that we've counted on him to do throughout the year. He kind of showed out at the All-Star game. So I'm hoping that helps him propel himself to get the offers he's looking for at the next level.
Right. And like I said, we had 9 sophomores, which I think, kind of helped us get that winning season. And so tell me a little bit about where we're at recruiting, because like I said, we've got some big shoes to fill.
Right. So for us, we actually do have a huge freshman class coming back. We have 17 guys on campus right now, and we've got 3 guys that are going to transfer in at Christmas from different junior colleges in different situations. It is going to be hard to lose these sophomores. It was a fantastic group. We had, especially like losing a keeper like Gabe Evans, somebody that was National Player of the Week a couple times, somebody that led our team from the back. You lose players like Moses Brandenburg, a guy up top who's always going to bring the energy and give you goals and give you things like that. So we do have a lot of big personalities to fill. We do feel like some of our freshmen will come in and really take the reins over and lead. But we also have some exciting players coming in that'll be true freshmen next year too.
You talk about those freshmen, stepping up, and 2 of the freshmen that I think stand out in my mind from this season was Trace Brady,
right,
and then Cole Gardner. And Cole's a local guy.
He is,
and I think he came in and really, did a good job for us. And I think if I'm right, you're expecting big things out of both those players.
Absolutely. Cole, coming from Clarkdale High School, has been probably our most versatile player on the field. He started at center mid. He played some right back. He can play center back. He did a little bit of everything for us. And not only that, he was a great player and a great leader for us. Trace Brady is a guy that we actually found on a walk-on scholarship. He came in. We didn't actually expect a lot out of Trace. And we kind of talked about that jokingly a couple weeks ago, but someone that came on and made an impact from day one, a guy that hustles his tail off, and you're never going to have to ask about if he's in it for the right reasons. So
right.
Super excited about those 2 guys coming back for us next year.
Another guy that I thought, played really hard for us and played through some injury and was a tough kid and brought that energy on the field every time he went out there, was a kid from Starkville. And now I'm drawing a blank. McKee Mulrooney.
Yeah,
McKee Mulrooney. And so tell me a little bit about him and just the energy that he brings and the hair color. He liked to change his hair color every day.
Yeah, so McKee, through about the first 8 weeks of the season or 7 weeks of the season, changed his hair color every week for the game. Definitely a colorful guy. He's a guy that the boys love playing with. He is full of energy at practice and on the bus and things like that. And he's a guy that the guys just love being around. And he also turned out to be a fantastic left back at that too. So another guy we were super excited to have come back.
Yeah, it's always good. You know, sometimes the colorful guys don't always bring that energy to the field, but I felt like McKee did. He made some big tackles, and he gave the same energy on the field as he did off the field, and I thought that really, kind of helped our guys stay in some games and things like that. And so we talk about recruiting, and we've got 8 local players that were on the team this year, and that's outstanding because I think in Meridian, we've got really good soccer here in Lauderdale County. And so we've got some international guys. We'll talk about that in a second. But talk a little bit about the local guys and what goes into getting those guys here. And because I talked with Coach Smith earlier in the year, and it's hard sometimes to get local guys to stay. They get in their mindset that, hey, I want to go off to college. I want to go somewhere. And so sometimes I think it's a little harder than people give it credit for to try to get somebody to stay in their home county where they've been for the first 18 years of their life. A lot of times they want to move on. So tell me a little bit about getting those local guys, because like I said, we had 8 of them on the roster this year, and just keeping those guys here at home.
I think for me, especially when I took over the head coaching job about 3 years ago, it was about rebuilding the culture of Meridian soccer. I grew up watching MCC soccer play. It was something that the community took great pride in, and it's something that I want to have the community feel again. It's something that I sell these local kids about putting on that MCC jersey and feeling something special when you come to CD Smith Field and you see the national championship sign and you can walk by and you can see all the awards and the coaches' office and things like that. This is a program that's rich in history. During the 2010s, it didn't perform to the levels that I think MCC can, but I do think we're getting back to that level, and I think a lot of that has to do with our local kids wanting to buy in. There are some kids that are always going to want to leave and want to go experience new things. I think the biggest thing for us is just putting a product out in the field and letting them see the classrooms and see the facilities and say, we have everything that these other places do, you might as well stay here and play too. So.
Right. Well, you talk about local kids staying, and that brings me to my next point with you. You grew up a local kid, Meridian High, and have found your way back, maybe not to your college, but to your hometown.
Right.
And we talked with Coach Carter a couple of weeks ago. We've got a lot of coaches at MCC that are from Meridian or that played at Meridian that have come back to coach here. And you're fall into that group. You're from Meridian. You're born and raised here, and have coached, some other places, but you found your way back here and you settled in. And what is it about Meridian and Meridian Community College that's so special that makes people want to come back here? Not just the players. I mean, obviously the players, I think, are wanting to stay like you talked about, but we've got, like I said, coaches and things of that nature that are going off and wanting to come back. Jack Davies, third-year sophomore, his sophomore quote was, I'm going to go play 2 more years, then I want to come back to Meridian and help Coach Sam coach. I mean, that's just speaks volumes about what's going on here at MCC, that so many people are leaving, but they want to come back here.
Right. I mean, for me, it's always been home. It will always be home. I think for me, coming back here and getting to be at this level, the thing I've enjoyed most is the camaraderie between the coaching staff and the administration and things like that. I love getting to go to lunch every day and get to see the baseball coaches and the basketball coaches and the track coaches and the athletic trainer and just getting to feel that togetherness. It's going to the games and supporting one another. It's feeling like a family. And I know that can be cliche to say at a lot of places they want to feel like a family, but when you come here and you're a part of this, you do feel like you're part of the MCC family, and that's special to me. Yeah. And I think not only do I feel that, but like you were saying with some of the players and guys that have been here before, once you're part of it, it doesn't go away. MCC's always going to have a special place in your heart.
I don't know how many times I've heard people say when they come back for alumni events or come back to watch us play or something, my 2 years at MCC were the greatest 2 years of my life. Everybody thinks about, going off to the university level and whether they play or if they just go as students. When you're at MCC, it's small enough that you know everybody. We've got a huge contingent of men's soccer players to go to every basketball game, and they sit and they give the visiting team the business from whistle to whistle. I mean, I talked with Coach Green, and he loves it. I mean, he loves the fact that those guys are coming out and they're supporting our guys. I mean, they're not there just to get on the other team, but they're there to support our guys. And I think that goes to show how much different sports support one another and how much they enjoy being here, so that soccer season's over, but they love coming in that gym and cheering for the Eagles. And we had a game a couple of weeks ago against East Central that I honestly think the fan involvement in that game helped push us to that win, because it was a dogfight. We jumped out early on them, and it was kind of dull, and then everybody, piled in the gym, and then the men's soccer team got the fans going. And it was crazy. It was one of the most exciting nights in the Graham Gymnasium that I've been a part of, and a lot of that was led by the men's soccer team, because they were there supporting the basketball team. And I think that goes, kind of along with what you're saying, is the camaraderie and the togetherness that they get, because it's a small campus. They all live here on campus. They get to know one another, and I think they do leave here thinking this was the best 2 years of my life.
Absolutely.
So a little change coming up in the MAC this year. I think we just voted on it. Maybe it hadn't quite gotten 100% approved, but I think it's well on its way. Is we've redone the conferences and divisions and kind of things like that in soccer, and it's kind of following the pattern of what baseball and softball and basketball has already done. So like I said, I look for it to be official, very soon if it's not already. Tell me a little bit about what change has happened.
Yeah, so soccer has, in the last, at least since I've been back in the league, has had a North and a South division. Traditionally, especially within men's soccer, the South has been a lot stronger than the North. We voted recently as coaches, and the ADs have voted on as well to try to go to one division, so we'd have a unified division next year. The only thing that's left is for the presidents to pass that, which we're thinking is not going to be an issue. For us, we've missed the playoffs by one game the last 3 years, or we've been out by one spot the last 3 years. We kind of talked about earlier. I feel like, and our staff feels like, that by opening up the state and not having to play some of these best teams in not only the state but the country twice, that we're going to have a very good chance of making playoffs and then making a good playoff run to try to be eventual state champion.
Right. No, I think it's going to be great because we play some of the teams in the North every year, so the travel and the expense and things like that really hasn't changed. And we've been very successful against teams in the North. We've beat Holmes and we've beat Northwest and we've beat Itawamba. So it's like you say, I think once that's open and everybody gets a shot at everybody, we'll have what I feel like is a more true state champion, because you will have played everybody in the state, and how you did against everybody in the state will determine the state champion. And I think that's the way it should be. Several years ago, baseball and softball made that move, so they went to a full state schedule. And now when they get done with their regular season means something, because you're playing all year long to be the state champion,
right,
and have that state champion represent us in the Region 23. Basketball made the move this past season, so now they're opened up and they're playing a full state schedule to where they'll have a state champion at the end of the regular season. And so I think that's great. I'm glad soccer's on board. I know there were some coaches throughout the past that had pushed this, and there have been a few in the state that had kind of dug their heels in and didn't want to make the transition, but luckily we've got that passed. I feel like it's just going to be a rubber stamp from the presidents, because it makes sense all the way around to go to that full state schedule. So I think that's going to be great. I think it's going to be good for MCC. I think it's going to be great for the whole conference. I think we're going to really see some benefit from that. We talked about local high schools, and we talked about local players. We're lucky enough to have such an outstanding facility here at MCC that we got several local high schools that come out and play some home matches here at CD Smithfield. Right. Tell me a little bit about that and what they get to experience when they come here.
Yeah, so during high school season, which runs during the winter here in Mississippi, we host West Lauderdale High School, we host Clarkdale, and we'll host any other local high schools that kind of ask to come along. I think the guys really have a great time coming to our facility, get to use locker rooms, get to get on the big college field, which is a little bit larger than some of the high school fields, and also with our light edition. The other night when West Lauderdale was hosting the game, we got to turn the red light accents on. If they score a goal, maybe the music goes off and stuff like that. So just getting to showcase our facility to some of the local kids is great, but also having those local teams bring in some of the best teams in the state so we can see those players see our facilities too has been really nice. So right. I think it's been a win-win for both.
No, that's great. I think it's really good when we can have, those local guys here on campus. And like you say, West Lauderdale's come out here and play. They play Brandon and Madison Central and Neshoba Central. And those are some big size-wise high schools in the state. And so for them to be able to come out to Meridian and see what we've got to offer, I know we've picked up some players from those schools in the past. And so I think it helps when they might not come on campus any other time from over in Madison County, but to come play soccer. And so they come on and they see the outstanding facilities we've got. And so I think I think it does benefit recruiting a little bit to get those guys on campus.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about your open tryouts you got coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so we have been very successful since I've been here with open tryouts. We found several scholarship guys. We found several guys that have been going to be 4-year players and get scholarship to 4-year. And so we're looking forward to another hopefully super or very successful tryout. We're looking for anybody, whether it's juniors just looking to get ID'd, whether it's seniors still looking for a spot, or whether it's, like you said earlier, some junior college players or some 4-year players that maybe just didn't have the experience they wanted last year. They're looking for a change. We're looking for those guys to come in.
Right. I know was it 2 years? I guess it was 3 years ago. We had an open tryout, and I remember I talked to you after, and I was like, "Well, do we have anybody?" And you're like, "Man, I found a great goalkeeper," and so that goalkeeper went on to be a 2-year starter for us, player of the week, and then he signed to play 4-year, and so there are players out there. I think, unfortunately, in the state of Mississippi, high school soccer being in the winter, people don't get seen as much as they do in some other sports, and so I don't want anybody to think that all this tryout's just for people who aren't good enough to play. That's certainly not the case. If you play at a small school, you may not get seen. And like you said, we've had some outstanding players show up here via the tryout or showcase or ID camp, whatever, kind of tag you want to put on that have been great players for us. And not only were they great for us, they've gone on to play at the next level.
Right.
Who else is out there besides Paco, the goalkeeper I'm thinking about?
Paco Zuniga, who had 2 great years here and still killing it at Blue Mountain. He was actually National Keeper of the Week for Blue Mountain a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
Miguel Velasquez is another player that we found during that first round of tryouts that went on to play at Blue Mountain as well. He started several games for them, scored a lot of goals. Just 2 players that, again, came in, put the work in, were a little bit overlooked in high school, but sometimes just because you don't get that initial look doesn't mean you don't have that talent. And those are 2 great examples of that.
Right. You talked about Trace Brady last year coming in on a tryout. And he's been, like I said, great for us. And so I think you're going to have a good showing. And again, that's Tuesday, December the 28th at 1:00 here at C.D. Smith Field. And then right on the heels of that, we'll have one of those local games we talked about. I think West Lauderdale is going to play Clarkdale.
The 9th.
And so 2 local teams coming out to play. So you can come out, you can try out for us, and then you can hang around and you can see, a game right here on C.D. Smith Field and kind of get a taste of that atmosphere with the lights and the music and things like that. So it'd be a great experience for anybody looking to find somewhere to play next year.
Absolutely.
So what else are you doing now in the off seasons? Just recruiting?
Yeah, recruiting. We're scheduling some spring games right now. We get 3 spring dates. We're trying to figure out where we're going to go and where we're going to play. And then from there, we're just kind of working on scheduling for next year. And again, the big thing right now is recruiting, trying to finalize that class for next year, and then really trying to ID juniors that we really like.
I got you. Well, good. Well, Coach Wilson, I thank you for joining me here on A View from the Top, brought to you by Rush Sports Medicine. I hope you enjoy your next level tea, and you'll go down and give Courtney and the girls an opportunity to make you several more flavors. I looked at the board, and I probably spent 15 minutes down there just trying to pick which flavor do I want, which flavor do I think Coach Wilson's going to want, and she's got a ton to choose from. So, once again, I'd like to thank Sam Wilson, head men's soccer coach at Meridian Community College. Let's take a quick break. You're listening to A View from the Top, brought to you by the Rush Sports Medicine Team here on 103.3 FM, Super Talk Meridian.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
Welcome back to A View from the Top, brought to you by the Rush Sports Medicine Team here on Super Talk Meridian 103.3 FM. Once again, I'd like to thank my guest, head MCC men's soccer coach Sam Wilson, for joining me today. Coach Wilson, we hosted an open tryout Tuesday, December 28th for all high school players or even some junior college players that still got some eligibility. That'll be at C.D. Smith Field here at 1:00. Come on out. No registration fee. Just come out, bring your soccer gear, and we'll try out. And we've had several players, like we said, make the team from this tryout. So we're looking to fill some spots. We're coming off a winning season, and so we're looking to get some guys in to continue that and put us over the hump and make the playoffs next year. Again, Tuesday, December 28th, tryouts for men's soccer. I'd also like to remind everyone that if you want to get more information for MCC's tennis pickleball tournament, go to mcceagles.com/camps. Coach TJ Carter and the tennis team have put together what I think is going to be an outstanding event here in a couple of weeks. And so go on there and register, sign up, and you can come out and pay the day of and play pickleball all day long. We got men's and women's open and beginner divisions, so there's a spot for anybody that wants to play. If you've ever played pickleball, this will be the time to come out and enjoy our facilities and get to play pickleball. MCC's undefeated men's basketball opens up MAC play tomorrow night in the Graham Gymnasium versus Jones College. Jones is also undefeated. It's a huge matchup early in the season for two undefeated teams to kick off conference play and kind of set the tone for what they're going to do in the state this year. The men have been playing outstanding. Like I said, if you haven't got a chance to come out and watch them and just feel the excitement and the enthusiasm in the Graham Gymnasium when they play, you're really missing out. I think it's kind of a hidden thing here at Meridian, but if you can come on out Thursday night and watch us play Jones County or Jones College, I think you'll really be impressed. If for whatever reason you can't make it out, you can always watch our live games at mcceagles.live. Because of the mirrored schedule with the MAC this year, the Lady Eagles will travel to Jones College for a 6 o'clock tip-off as they open up MAC play. The Lady Eagles have had a tough go. They've had some scheduling issues where they had to play several games back-to-back, and they've played some really good top 25 teams, so they're off to a little bit slower start than the men. They're 3-4 this season, but doing some really good things. And so, again, they travel to Jones to open up MAC play. To keep up with anything MCC Athletics, be sure and like us on Facebook at MCC Eagles Athletics. Follow us on Twitter at MCC Eagles Sports. And for every episode of A View from the Top and all Eagles highlights and much more, subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search Meridian Community College. Once again, I'd like to thank my special guest, Coach Sam Wilson. And you're listening to A View from the Top, brought to you by the Rush Sports Medicine Team here on 103.3 FM, Super Talk Meridian.